Welcome. Did I cut you off?
No, that's fine. You can introduce it.
Welcome in. It's the best doom metal picks of 2022 so far. We are rounding up our subgenre categories, and you are here right now.
Leave yours in the comments. Let's do it. My first pick is Fer De Lance, the Hyperborean, released April 22nd on Cruz del Sur. Man, I love me some epic doom. Hailing from Chicago, these dudes have released one of the more exciting metal albums in the doom metal category. If you're familiar with bands that come from Cruz del Sur, then you likely have an idea of what you're getting into here. Epic, traditional metal vibes, deeply rooted in fantasy and folklore. It makes you want to swing a sword. That's what it does. This band leans more into the rock side than a lot of the more traditional metal bands that are on the label, but there's some elements of bands like Visigoth, Crypt Sermon, and like even Hammerheart era Bathory on the Hyperborean. The folk and black metal vibes hit all of the feels too on the album, man. I love the slightly muddy and raw production that adds to that fantasy atmosphere. This album is all sorts of epic and makes you feel like you're traversing the world of Conan. From acoustic guitar passages to full-on steel-clad heavy metal assault, if you're looking for some epic heavy doom, don't miss this one. 4.5 out of 5 Northern Voyages.
Dark Millennium's Acid River came in at the beginning of this year as a total sleeper hit. This is one of those bands that has been around for decades, actively shaping the progressive death doom genre, really without much fanfare. And as far as that unique subgenre goes, progressive death doom isn't really something that a lot of bands are good at. However, Dark Millennium spits in the face of everything that you thought that doom should sound like, injecting psychedelic influences that will cause you to wonder what the fuck you're listening to. For anyone that has enjoyed the early days of Tiamat's Paradise Lost or Rotting Christ, you've got to spin this one. It's a total mindfuck that is somehow utterly coherent. I love this record, this band and this album in particular being one of my new favorites. 4.7 out of 5, Flowing Rivers of LSD.
My next pick here is Temple of the Void. Summoning the Slayer, released June 3rd. I am completely in love and entranced and enthralled with this record. From the gigantic and oppressive riffs, gross and massive production, Summoning the Slayer feels like you're slowly awakening an elder sleeping giant deep beneath the earth. I hear a ton of old school slow death metal inspiration from the likes of Morbid Angel's slower tunes, think of Where the Slime Live, to Ackerfeld era Bloodbath in the vocal department. There's a good dose of accessibility here too, which actually lends the songs to having a hypnotic effect, and the album endlessly dirges towards dark oblivion. If you love your riffs low and slow with a heavy dose of a swirling black chasm of despair, then you gotta check this one out. It is so fucking good. 4.7 out of 5. Great Old Awakened Titans.
Kuolemanlaakso, Kuusuumu. What a fun album to say.
You nailed it.
This Finnish band is made up of a cohort of talented musicians from other projects, most notably Mikko Kotamaki of Swallow the Sun. He's on vocals for this, and it makes it awesome. Kuusuumu is a melodic doom gothic journey that isn't ashamed to pull inspirations from other genres, including black metal, funeral doom, and even OSDM. It does this in a very uncontrived fashion, easing the listener through its studies of all things emotionally extreme. 7 tracks and a total runtime of about 45 minutes is really perfect pacing for this record. It leaves you wanting more, and because there are so many cool moments dispersed throughout, you want to just have more listens to it. This has been a great year for melodic doom so far. This is one of my favorites in the category. I'll rate this 4.7 out of 5 Gilded Goddesses. This one went head-to-head with Dawn of Solace's Flames of Perdition in my best doom category, just beating it out by 0.1 point. So yeah, take that for what it is.
My next pick is Deathwhite, Gray Everlasting. This band is one of the ultimate modern love letters to one of my favorite metal subgenres, which is melodic doom. With the album title Gray Everlasting, look up the old catalog of October Tide. See if you can figure out what they're picking up on. I think there's something there. Deathwhite play a fantastic modern take on the melodic doom genre with inspirations from the doom greats like My Dying Bride, Catatonia, and Paradise Lost. This album is so freaking well crafted. Every song has its place, not only in the album construct, but also the parts too, keeping the pace of the record spot on for just repeat listens over and over again. I love how the band is able to envelop a sense of misery, contrasted against such a great, beautiful piece of music. The production is killer too, pristine and clear, with a balanced sense of just desolation. The fans of the melodic doom category, you're right at home here with one of the best doom metal albums of the year, 4.7 out of 5, Wanderers of Despair.
My favorite melodic doom bands have always been the ones that feel hopeful yet bleak in the same fucking moment. This is one of those bands. They do it just so pristinely. One of the best. It's pretty safe to say that Cult of Luna is dominating the post-sludge category with their epic release, The Long Road North. It is easily one of the best cinematic-inspired records from this year, and very well could go down as one of their most monumental releases in their entire discography, which says a lot because all their albums are pretty fucking good. This band has been a long time favorite of mine, and it's wild to be observing them at this point in their career, which very well could be the paramount of their career. It really says something because, like I said, I just can't think of a single album from them that is below average. The Long Road North is an incredible follow-up to A Dawn to Fear and The Raging River. This band has been on a fucking tear since signing to Metal Blade. If you want to experience a cold, dreadful cinematic blend of post-hardcore, doom, and sludge, jump into the icy waters that flank the Long Road North. 4.6 out of 5, Frozen Highways.
My next pick is Art, Take Up My Bones, released February 18th. It's fairly rare when a metal album grabs me as intensely as this record did. History buffs, take note here. This is the project of Mark Deeks of Winterfelleth, who is also a music director, arranger, composer, author, and PhD philosopher. The dude is freaking busy. This album is epic monastic doom metal and explores the relics of Northumbrian Saint Cuthbert, who lived in 634 to 687 AD. I have never heard a doom album that sounds so niche, yet so accessible and on the nose. The riffs and compositions heavily remind me of early My Dying Bride works with a fantastic addition. Massive sounding male choir chanting vocals. A wonderfully powerful and beautifully gloomy album that I absolutely needed this year. I just cannot get it out of my rotation. It's that good. Get lost in this record, man. If you love the slow stuff, you'll thank us later. 4.8 out of 5, Morning Monks.
This was one of my early favorites of the year, man. Like, I love the Winterfelleth vibes. It's as if Winterfelleth was doing doom. It's just so cool to like hear the folk influences just blend right into this. It's so good. Spiral Skies released Death Is But a Door late March on AOP Records. This sophomore album is a very strong piece of traditional doom to add to your collection. This record is a perfectly paced traditional doom album. There are hits all over it. And with 9 tracks at 43.5 minutes, it's a doom metal album that really doesn't overwhelm. There's a ton of catchy licks and amazing vocals from vocalist Frida. The lo-fi production really helps the band to fit into that trad category without losing that low-end punch that this music really needs. What I really admire about the Swedish ensemble is that they not only know how to write catchy songs that will leave you fist bumping in that traditional vein, but there's an aura of mysticism and a feeling that you're evoking the occult just by listening to this record. So so cool. This is one of my favorite in the year for the traditional Doom category, and I have a feeling we might see it in the favorite of the year so far. It's just that damn good. 4.8 out of 5 portals to the ether.
My next pick here is Hangman's Chair, A Loner. Released February 11th on Nuclear Blast, despondent doom spanning across 9 gorgeously crafted tracks of misery. A Loner was one of my absolute favorite Doom records so far of 2022. That's why it's on this list. There's a sense of mysticism and wonder in the production on this record. The guitars are fuzzy and laden with chorus and delay and reverb effects in a way that just envelops the subdued drums into a truly gloomy space. This album combines the old school sound from the 90s and early 2000s Doom, but into modern territory without sacrificing that darkness that we all love. I love how there's nods too to Typo Negative here with the chorus effects on not only the guitars but the bass tone. So freaking rad, dude. The album feels borderline transcendent at times too, taking you to the deepest places of your dark thoughts to let you sit safely and just wonder. We all love to do that sometimes. A tremendous album and one of the best album closers I have ever heard. 1,000 Miles Away. Don't miss this album. 4.7 out of 5 Thoughts in Desolation.
Dude, I'm so glad that you put this on your picks because this is absolutely hands down one of my favorites of the year. It's just so good. Man, when I learned that Shape of Despair was coming out with a record, I was pretty damn excited. We both were. It had been way too long since Monotony Fields came out prior, and prior to that, it was a 10-year gap in their discography, so kind of wondering if this band is even still active. This is one of those bands that they have to take their time with this stuff because you can't fake this level of genuine self-loathing, misery, and fucking sorrow. Return to the Void is an exploration of fear, sorrow, and existential pain. Much more down-tempo than bands like Rapture or Counting Hours, this Finnish crew just went for pure misery. The atmosphere on this record displays flickers of hope as you trudge through the barren swamps of sorrow. The contrast that this band creates is just absolutely what this genre needs to stay engaging, flawlessly shifting gears from wide open sections to tight, pulsating rhythms. Doom musicians, take note. Return to the Void is an absolutely haunting record. I'm looking forward to the cold returning so I can snuggle up with this one. 4.7 out of 5 Things That Should Not Be.
And what are your favorite Doom picks of the year so far? Leave them down in the comments below.
Go with the gods, Forge Mates, and remember, the Void is there for you to return to.